Today we are going to be discussing the case of Kelly Ann Bates. It is vile, tragic, horrendous, horrible, disgusting, done by a monster. Grab your favorite adult beverage. I'm having a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. I mean, if you're of age, of course. And let's get into this whole crazy situation. I first learned about this case thanks to the Morbid podcast, which is what I listen to every night. They're amazing. Kelly Ann Bates was born on May 18, 1978, in Hattersley, which is near the Manchester city centre. Her parents, Margaret and Tommy, were thrilled with their beautiful daughter. Kelly Ann grew into an independent and confident teenager, and they always had a close relationship. She was content with her life. Sadly, the family dynamic would soon shift after she began seeing a boy named Dave Smith in '92. This relationship would forever tarnish the relationship with her family and also drive her into total isolation with a monster. Kelly was instantly drawn to the outgoing Dave, and they quickly developed a romantic relationship. For over 2 years, Kelly hid most of her relationship from her family. Her parents weren't worried, though. They understood most teenagers' desire to be independent, and often they withhold certain information, especially their parents. Her parents believed this was puppy love and Dave was a fellow teenager, so they didn't have any concerns about what their daughter was doing. This all changed when they became aware that their daughter was sneaking out at night and not coming home for several days. This deeply concerned her parents. Concerned about Kelly's whereabouts, Dave began to call her mother Margaret, who was initially comforted by his concern for their daughter Kelly. These feelings vanished when Margaret and Tommy were introduced to Dave. And to their shock and horror, he was not a teenage boy, he was a 32-year-old grown man who was dating their daughter. Kelly had hid the relationship not because she was trying to be independent, but because her boyfriend was an adult man. Her mother had a visceral reaction when she first met him. All the hairs on her body stood on end at their introduction. Margaret ignored this signal and decided to allow her smart and mature daughter to carry on this relationship. Sadly, they had no clue how evil Dave would turn out to be. Kelly continued with the relationship, even though she would often return home with bruising and marks upon her body. Bite marks on her body, my bad. Her parents begged and pleaded with her to end this obviously dangerous relationship. Her parents feared their daughter's life. However, Kelly ignored their pleas to end the relationship. She was too far under Dave's spell. And on November 30th, 1995, she decided to move into his home in Gorton. Sadly, her family and friends would never see Kelly alive again. The only correspondence her loved ones would receive from that point on were a series of cards for anniversaries and birthdays. All these cards were written out by Dave as a way to ensure that he and Kelly would be left alone so he could carry out his wicked impulses. On April 16th, 1996, Dave strolled into his local police department and calmly informed them that he had accidentally killed Kelly in the bath following an argument. He claimed he tried to revive her but was unable to despite his best effort. Officers swiftly made their way to his home, where they found the nude, lifeless body of Kelly in the bedroom. Upon seeing her corpse, the police realized that Dave had lied about the events. Kelly had been horrifically brutalized and tortured to death. She was nearly unrecognizable due to damage that Dave caused her body. Dave was promptly arrested. Kelly's body was taken for examination, which showed that she had sustained over 150 separate injuries. The abuse was so horrific that the pathologist stated that Kelly's injuries were the worst of any murder victim he had ever seen during his career, which was well over 600 at that point. Her injuries included stab wounds inside her mouth and eye sockets. Her eyes had been ripped out by hand. She had burns and broken bones, as well as other injuries which are too horrific to speak of. This was not the result of rage. She had been methodically tortured over a 3-week period. This is one of the most horrific cases of not only abuse, but systematic torture that I have ever heard of. I cannot imagine the mental, emotional, and physical pain that she went through. On November 12, 1997, at Manchester Crown Court, Kelly's family and friends learned that Dave Smith, was not, in fact, Dave Smith. He was actually James Patterson Smith, a violent abuser of women and divorcee who was actually 45 years old and not 32 when he met the 15-year-old Kelly. Smith told the jury that Kelly asked for it because she used to wind him up. He also suggested that the torture was part of BDSM that Kelly was into. Nobody wants their eyes ripped out and to be tortured for weeks on end, so this was a bold-faced lie. Smith was unable to convince the jury that his actions were her fault. It only took them 1 hour to convict him of murder and sentence him to a minimum of 20 years in prison. Jurors were so traumatized by the case that they were offered counseling, and all of them accepted the help. Sadly, Kelly's family will always have to live with the horror of what happened to their beautiful daughter, but they felt some relief knowing that a monster is locked up, unable to harm any more women or girls. For anyone dealing with domestic violence, please call 1-800-799-7233 or 1-800-787-3224. Or if you cannot speak safely, log on to thehotline.org or text LOVEIS to 22522. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.